Hello, my name is Joey, and today we will be talking about whether or not individuals on motorized wheelchairs should be subject to traffic moving violations when on city streets with Sydney, Jennifer, Allie, and Bianca.
Individuals who are in a motorized vehicle should receive a moving violation due to safety concerns. One of those concerns includes more likely to get into an accident due to the low speed of the vehicle. These vehicles go up to 10 miles per hour, and most people are driving at least 25 miles per hour or even more than that every day. And the fact that it only goes up to 10 miles per hour causes a huge safety concern. Another one would be since these vehicles are slower, older people tend to use them because they usually can't have a hard time walking and they need these motorized vehicles to get around. But this causes a safety concern to them, especially because if they are out on the streets or whatever, people are driving 25 miles per hour at the minimum. Most of them are at least driving 40 to 50 miles per hour. This causes a safety concern because elders cannot hear as well as others and their vision is poor. This causes a safety concern because it could really hurt them. If an elder were to get into an accident, they're more likely to get injured / possibly die because this vehicle causes a huge safety concern to them and others in the flow of traffic. And if they were to lose power on the roads, this would be huge. It would affect the flow of traffic. The traffic would not be as smooth as it usually would, and they would have no way to get around. And the last one I have here is that there's no designated space for them on the roads. This is a huge safety concern because if there's no designated space for them, it's not safe. Like for vehicles such as, bikes, they have certain bike lanes for them on the highways and things. For cars, they have slow lane and fast lanes. But for motorized vehicles, there's no specific lane for them, which causes a huge safety concern.
Today I'm going to be sharing an argument to support why people using motorized chairs should be subject to moving violations. I just want to quickly say everything on this slide is my own thoughts, so there is no source listed. So my argument is that they pose safety concerns just like any other citizen driving a car or riding a bike. So some of the safety concerns that I thought of were, for one, the low speed. So I've been in an accident where the first person brakes, second person, that domino effect of braking, and it did cause an accident. And I think this is a plausible thing that could happen with motorized chairs because their low speed affects the flow of traffic, which we know causes accidents. The second safety concern I thought about was the lowness to the ground. Especially if you're in a higher up car, seeing that person or that motorized chair may be a very difficult thing. So I think the lowness to the ground is something that really is a safety concern. The third safety concern I thought about was improper equipment. So I'm thinking more of like lighting in this situation. I think a lot of us can probably say we've seen a biker late at night that doesn't have reflective gear or doesn't have lights on their bike. So it's very hard to see them, especially in darkly lit areas. And I think this could be something that applies to motorized chairs. If they don't have lighting or proper equipment, such as lighting, it's gonna be really hard to see them, and that is a huge safety concern. And the fourth safety concern I thought about was they still have the ability to drive impaired, whether that be drugs or alcohol. And as all of us know, driving impaired does cause accidents and does pose a safety concern. The second slide here, this is a graph that I'm going to talk about, and I do want to point out that this is from the UK and this is referring to cyclists, but I think this is something we can still apply to the argument of motorized chairs. So there's three things I want to talk about on this graph. The first one is the rider error or reaction. So I think this kind of applies to my low speed, like affecting the flow of traffic argument, which I was talking about, like the braking and things. Say a person in a motorized chair pulls out in front of you and you don't see them till the last second. That reaction time can definitely cause an accident. And I should have pointed this out earlier, but the graph is called contributory factors in accidents involving cyclists. So this is just talking about like things that could cause an accident or have caused an accident involving a cyclist. So that reaction time, that is a huge thing. That's actually the biggest thing on this graph. So I definitely think that can be applied to the discussion of motorized chairs. The second one I want to talk about is this gray one. It's impairment and distraction. So kind of like I was talking about, people in motorized chairs definitely still have the ability to drive impaired. And also the distraction part, a motorized chair actually could be a big distraction for somebody driving a car, especially if they're not paying attention already. So I think that's a really good argument to make. So that one also is not as huge as the reaction time and rider error, but it's still prevalent. And then the third one I want to talk about is the last one. That one is talking about vision affected by external factors. So this kind of goes into my argument about lighting, especially dimly lit areas. So if we're talking about it's dark at night, obviously the sun's not out, and that's an external factor, that there's no sunlight. Also, street lights, if the street lights are not on or there's not any in that area, that's still an external factor that would affect the safety of the citizens. So that's the sources right there. So now Sydney is going to be talking about an argument to support why people using motorized chairs should not be subject to moving violations.
Hi everybody, I'm Sydney, and I think individuals should not be subject to receive a moving violation in a motorized chair. They already have guidelines in place that protect the individuals and others around them to keep everybody safe. The motorized chairs do not go very fast and most only go 10 or so miles per hour. Individuals are allowed to use the motorized chairs on roads when speed limits are less than 25 miles per hour to keep everybody safe. The motorized chairs might be their only way to get around without assistance, which might mean the motorized chair is their little bit of freedom they have to navigate the world independently, and they shouldn't have to worry about receiving a moving violation while doing that. A person in a motorized chair is treated like any other pedestrian. The Wisconsin state statute defines a pedestrian as any person afoot or any person in a wheelchair, either manually or mechanically propelled or other low-powered mechanically propelled vehicles designed specifically for use by a person with a physical disability. So anybody in a motorized chair should not be worried about getting a moving violation because they are considered a pedestrian. In North Carolina, they are subject to all the laws, ordinances, regulations, rights, and responsibilities which would otherwise apply to a pedestrian according to the Citizens Times. Meaning anybody in a motorized chair should not receive special rules or laws when they would be considered a pedestrian. And they should not be receiving a moving violation in a motorized chair. This is why individuals should not receive a moving violation in a motorized chair. Do you agree that individuals in a motorized chair should be considered a pedestrian? Why or why not?
Though there are many reasons why an individual should receive a moving violation if they are using a motorized chair, there are reasons why they shouldn't receive a violation. Some reasons would be because the Wisconsin State Assembly signed a bill to regulate electrical scooters on roads and sidewalks. So with that being said, people who use a motorized chair are just like regular people who walk on the sidewalks and drive cars to get to their daily places that they need to go. It is also environmental friendly. Being environmental friendly, you are doing less harm to the air. So you won't be polluting the air, unlike other cars in public transportation that is being used throughout the community. It is always the goal for people to have a cleaner air, and using a motorized chair is one way to reduce that problem. It is also easier to travel. You won't be included in actual traffic. If you're using a motorized chair, then you won't be able to actually be in traffic, like actually on the road, but you'll be able to maneuver around it to get to your destination much easier, even if you're using a sidewalk. There aren't many people using a sidewalk, so it'll be more convenient to use the sidewalk than actually on the street, depending on the speed that you are going. And also, it gives a sense of freedom. Giving a sense of freedom to a person who is in a motorized chair gives them the ability to travel and move at their own leisure. Being in a motorized chair already comes with its disadvantages, but allowing those individuals to move at their own pace and time wherever they want to go, whenever they want to go, can be a step to making a greater place for them and also us.
Oh, as a group, we came to a consensus that those individuals who have motorized wheelchairs should be subject to moving violations while on city streets. This is because they have to follow the same laws as other citizens while on city streets. As well as, we understand that they may not be able to go as fast as other, vehicles, and they're slower. However, there are ways to alter these motorized wheelchairs so that they can go faster. Also, slow can be just as dangerous as fast, because the slower you go in traffic, you can impede traffic and you can also get tickets that way. Also, they are not equipped to be street legal with things such as lights and other components that make cars street legal. Other than moving violations, there are other things that are at risk. Because of the size of these motorized wheelchairs, they sit low to the ground and are very hard to see for cars coming in oncoming traffic or in the same way. So this puts not only the drivers at risk, but the people who are driving the motorized wheelchairs, and this is bad because, they could get hit without even being seen because they're sitting so low to the ground. These people on motorized wheelchairs also have other options like sidewalks and public transportation so that they are can get different places other than driving on city streets, because it's very dangerous for them. And now here's a video on what a state trooper from Florida has to think about the people driving on city streets with motorized wheelchairs. So here we go.
To the questions you send in. Today it's a little unique. We're talking about what you can and can't drive on the roads.
And we've got a pretty good example. Investigator Michael DeForest can't talk this morning. Trooper Steve, can you break this down for our viewers, please? Leave it to our investigative team to find stuff like this. This is what we got. Cruising down the road, this wheelchair, and if we can get to that graphic, it was a wheelchair driving down the road. There we go. Driving down Clara-Conocoe Road. What you're looking at is not a go-kart or anything like that. It's this kind of hover around, just cruising down the road, and he's got a passenger along. What kills me, guys, is there's sidewalks out in this area. This should never be on the road in the first place. Not only is it ticketable, we're talking obstructing the flow of traffic, impeding just traveling on a public roadway on an unregistered vehicle, stuff like that, but it's so dangerous. The fact that he has a passenger on here kind of throws me off a little bit. And you see the cars actively driving out there.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, don't do this. This is how, one, pedestrians get hit, and then we're reporting on it, trying to figure out why this stuff happening. This is why. Kind of common sense here a little
People
bit.
are driving by, too, getting distracted, like, what did I just look at? And then they, too, get in one.
This just really shows, is just another point of view on how it shows how dangerous it is, for those driving motorized wheelchairs on city streets, even if that is their only sort of transportation, and it is legal for them to drive in, on roads that are under 25 miles an hour in some areas. However, it is very dangerous for those people who do that, and they should be equipped with the right, lights and all those other things that make cars street legal, to make it safer for both, the person who's driving the wheelchair and whoever they're sharing the roads with. But they should be subject to the same laws that everyone else has that they're sharing the roadways with.